Hello, Canucks fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Canucks Conversation, delivered to you by the great folks at DoorDash.
Ding dong.
Use promo code CONVODD, capital C, capital D, all one word, CONVODD. That will get you 25% off and free delivery on your first order with the DoorDash app. Does not get much better than that, folks. My name is Dave Quadrelli. I am wearing a Seattle Mariners hat. I'm joined, as always, by the man who built the place, wearing a Toronto Blue Jays jersey, Chris Faber. Our technical producer is Alex Lard. This is the Canucks Conversation. We're going to talk about baseball in this episode, aren't we, Chris?
Oh, yeah, just a little bit. We'll touch on it.
We're foreshadowing here, but it's a part of our Betway wrap-up. We're talking about who's coming out of the AL. So let's get started right away. The chat is bumping. I just wanted to say the chat is bumping to start this show. Quickly wanted to get in here because Deeb55 on YouTube said signing on early to break Chris French's hot streak of commenting first. And he did just that because Chris French, we gave him shout-outs in the past two episodes. He was the first to comment on the last two episodes. So that'll be interesting to see who keeps getting the first comment here. James Kootenay brought up a good point about 11 a.m. being a different time slot that we could explore. Pandas FN brought up at the bottom there that the thought process behind the 1 p.m. time slot is to get it out after morning skate. That is the point. That's why we record at 1 o'clock. So that won't be changing.
Yeah, we're not going up against Donnie and Dolly either.
No, and someone just said you're going head to head with Donnie and Dolly. That's tough. That's hey Matt. We took that in consideration when we picked our time slot.
Yeah, we'll take our chances with Drance instead.
Pandas FN commenting on my hat, I hope, said boo quads and then let's go Faber, Manoah, the GOAT. Do we start on hockey talk?
No,
where are we starting here?
They could be just booing you in general and saying, giving me props for you trying to bash Connor Garland the other day. No, I want to first. We got a new chair coming for you tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe, hey, Alex, can we go back to the wide view here?
Yeah, go to wide view and just show everybody the chair that I'm in. It's a patio chair. I'm in a patio chair from IKEA. It's not a great setup so far, but beautiful. I forgot to say, overlooking beautiful downtown Vancouver, right above Rogers Arena. We will let you know when they clean that part of the roof that we always look at. Although they did clean it. There's just a lot of seems like pigeon poop all over there's a lot of pigeons there. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked a little bit by
good
Rogers
words to say
Arena's
for the
roof.
podcast. People love when you say poop on
People
air.
do like when you say poop.
Actually, Alex, you can pull it up. I got a picture of the chair set up here for Quads. Quads' new chair that we're going to move into for tomorrow, which I'm excited about. I know you're going to like it.
What are you talking about?
You have
a picture of the chair?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just waiting on Alex to pull it up here for the YouTube
you're
folks.
Barking a lot of instructions at poor Alex. Who knew that we were going to be talking about the chair to start?
Oh, he did.
Did he?
Yep. He was prepared for us. I'm going tomorrow on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
Which I think is a lot better than Craigslist in general, right?
Oh, yeah. Facebook Marketplace is great.
Craigslist was a little sketchy for a little bit there, but Facebook Marketplace has been good. I'm going tomorrow morning. You're going to have your nice new chair. Excited for that.
Could be good. Okay. Esther Miles jumped in the chat and said, Donnie versus Faber, Dolly versus Quads tag team wrestling match for the championship. Who wins? Please tweet that at Rick Dollywall, and I just want to see if he replies with that Honey, I Shrunk the Kids thing, because it's between Squadrelli and the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids thing. I look like the actor from that show. Aiden Fox jumping in, not the one that works for the Canucks. We always have to reiterate that. Said 7 a.m. here in Australia, at work, pumped for the game today. Let's go there, Chris. Let's talk about the game.
I'm still
here.
waiting on the chair. I see Alex got the chair up here pretty soon here.
I don't think Alex has the chair. I think
he does.
You are out to lunch in terms of yelling about having a picture of a chair on the live stream. I don't think that's happening. So let's move to the strong lineup.
Yeah, I prepare all night long for these videos I put together and photos I put together.
Strong lineup out in Abbotsford.
There it is right there.
That's what you came up with?
That's a new chair coming in right there. Quads, I'm picking it up on Facebook Marketplace tomorrow.
Well, people are going to like that. And again, to the podcast listeners, that for sure will be posted all over Twitter. You'll be able to find it. Don't feel left out.
Yeah, lots of leg room to see. You can go back to it, Alex. Lots of leg room. You can go around.
Don't go back to.
You can quickly go off, and you can look out into the view when I do my prospects report. You can zone right out, lean back, pull up your TikTok.
Oh boy. Okay. Can we move on now? Can we get to the lineup here in Abbotsford? Also, should mention we're going to be joined by Bagged Milk of Oilers Nation, the beat writer. That's beat as in the vegetable. Beat writer, Bagged Milk, going to be joining us to preview Canucks versus Oilers. Let's go there, Chris. Because
no, not yet. We got to mention the network. Network's new.
Oh, that's right. You're right about that.
Here we go. Putting Alex on the spot. Pull it up, Alex. There it is. all the you can read through this, Quads.
Yeah,
You know more than I know about this.
Yeah. Okay. So at Nation Network, we've got a lot of exciting things going on right now. Frank Saravalli was someone who tweeted out kind of the whole lineup because I think he's pretty pumped. Frank's coming on the show on Canucks Convo for sure. He'll be on a lot of these shows. But over at Leafs Nation, we've got Leafs Morning Take at 11 a.m. Eastern. Daily Face Off Live with Mr. Frank Saravalli goes at 9 a.m. Pacific. I don't know why I'm switching time zones. I'm sorry. And then we have the Flames Nation show, which has 3 big names on that show now. I know this doesn't excite a lot of Canucks fans. We're just trying to say that we're very excited about everything going on with Nation Network because kind of like they have with Canucks Army and us, investing in local talent. We're doing that all over, and I think we're all really excited about that.
Yeah, we'll be on some of these shows here too when there's some Vancouver news specifically.
You went on Oilers Nation every day today.
I was in the chat. The YouTube chat.
You're basically there.
People are firing up in there as well. I was talking to Patreon supporter Lisa about it. I don't have the chat going on this. I have no idea what's going on there. You were mentioning there's polls going up there yesterday. I control the chat. Well, you don't control it. You don't even know what's going on.
Well, you don't. I can make stuff up. There's no record of this chat, folks. Okay. So Faber can't go back and see what you've said, so I can just lie.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true. Hopefully, Alex would correct me. I think Alex has the chat open.
Alex has my back.
Yeah, I've been yelling at him too much already.
Yeah, exactly. You're mean to Alex. Alex has my back.
Before we get to hockey stuff, you mentioned it. The Mariners, Blue Jays. I feel like this is a debate in Vancouver. Here, Alex, you pull this one up. I built this too.
Oh my gosh!
Not only do I tweet out prospects insider right here. We got my my Vancouver update for the Blue Jays and Mariners wild card series times. So you can see, Friday we'll be live on air at 107.
What are you doing?
This is my update here. My West Coast Blue Jays fans. 107 Friday, 107 on Saturday.
You having the visual aspect is like you and a kid in a candy store. And I love how you're the one that's like, this is still a podcast. We want to make sure we're still a podcast and throw all these visual elements of your crappy Photoshop.
These aren't crappy. Look at this. That's my face on there. That's my tweet. Arden Zwelling.
Okay. Now you got to post these on Twitter, right? So that people know. Oh yeah, we just got to make sure.
Part of my job. Okay, we can chat. I'm driving out to Abbotsford, figuring out the best route to get out there because what it is. It's that there's only one exit to get to like that half side of Abbotsford there, the farm country over there. You got the jail out there as well. Go to the jail. There's some other places in there. Good gas station, Petro Canada out there. That's what I use. My MasterCard bonus points on the Petro Canada stuff. All right, let's get to it. Strong lineup out there in Abbotsford. We can dive into it. We can move along here. I'm excited to watch this, man, because this is what we are going to see on opening night. I don't know about Ilya Mikheyev, the status for him and his injury. We haven't seen him skating with the group. We haven't seen Brock Besser skating with the group, though he was on the ice the other day. Good to see. Interesting for me, just kind of looking throughout the top and bottom here. There's stuff we can talk about in the forward group. There's stuff we can talk about in the defense group. Where do you want to start here, Quads?
Let's start with the forward group, and let's start with the line that we think is going to be a lot of fun. As I wrote in the scenes for Morning Skate this morning on CanucksArmy.com, we think is going to be a lot of fun and heavily mentioned in the Statsies, our morning after analytics-based post-game report courtesy of Michael Liu. That Pettersson, Kuzmenko, and Podkolzin line, that's going to be a line that drives play. Like, that's going to be a really good line, especially when you consider what Vasily Podkolzin was able to do with Sheldon Dries as the center and Connor Garland on his wing. And to be clear, I like Connor Garland. I know a lot of people after yesterday are thinking that I think Sheldon Dries and Connor Garland are at the same level. Wasn't what I was trying to say, but Vasily Podkolzin really drove play on that line, especially in the first period. So I'm really interested to see what he's able to do with Elias Pettersson and Andrei Kuzmenko on his wing. And like you said, it looks like these are going to be the lines for opening night. And does that worry you at all? Because on that line above him is Dakota Joshua with Bo Horvat and Niels Höglander.
Yeah, a little surprised. I mean, to me, this might not be the lineup we see on opening night. This is the bodies that I expect to see. I don't know if it'll be mixed in to this degree. Like, I can see Höglander starting with Horvat. I think they've had a lot of success in the early stages of Höglander's career, which is funny to say as he's still only like 21 years old or whatever he is, maybe 22. But I like that combo together. I think Joshua will be an interesting fit there. It doesn't scream top 6 line or even really top 9 line when Joshua's on that line. Like, to me, Joshua looks like a good 4th line player. In my eyes, I think he's going to be a player that you want to have on your 4th line for the differences of bringing energy, being able to deliver hits, just kind of like the way that he's kind of said it was just kind of like always being out there against players and just making it difficult on them every night, right? Like going out there and finishing your hits and doing the simple things. And Curtis Lazar, like it was interesting to hear these two talk about it at training camp. They both just want to like play the same game where they are just kind of like wearing down opponents and then letting the rest of the guys work. When you put Joshua in a role like this, it's a little different, right? You're not looking at the Horvat, Huglander, Joshua to just grind down the other team's top line. Like you want to see a little bit of offense when you're getting it from the Horvat line. So to see Joshua adjust to that will be a little interesting, but I think it's fine to give him a shot there. I think maybe as the game goes on, we see Lazar go up there. Wouldn't even shock me. And I know like Canucks fans might not want to hear this, but like Jason Dickinson might start getting a shot here in the top 9, whether it be like tonight when the lines start getting moved around or potentially the final game of the year. The fit, I really want to see Joshua and Lazar be line mates. Like I do. I want to see them play together because of what they're going to bring. Their hits per 60 is some of the top 25 in the league last year. These guys throw a lot of hits. They get on the boards hard. They forecheck tough. And they're just tough players to play against. So I want them kind of on the same line because I feel like the Canucks have enough offensive talent to say that the top 9 should be able to outscore a lot of teams as other top 9s at 5-on-5. They should be. We haven't seen it in preseason yet. And another line that maybe I want you to get into a little bit.
Well, hang on. I got something to say. Okay. First of all, so much for this being the year that Bo Horvat finally gets steady wingers. Am I right?
Yeah.
And in all seriousness, I had this discussion just about depth and the lineup in general, especially Dakota Joshua's role on that Horvat line. I was kind of talking with someone on Twitter about it today about how, look, like the preseason injuries suck. Don't get me wrong, but the way that the Canucks are right now able to use a guy like Sheldon Dries, who, look at it, is their top center call-up option from Abbotsford, right? Able to use him on a line where he might actually end up if a couple centers go down. They were able to do that in the preseason. That wasn't necessarily because of injuries, but when you look at the Joshua opportunity, this is an opportunity for Dakota Joshua to show that, hey, I can play on more than just your NHL fourth line. So when there is an injury, to a winger, especially to start a season, right? As it looks like there will be right now. Dakota Joshua is kind of auditioning for that role right now. And again, my main point is just that the preseason injuries have kind of offered the Canucks an opportunity to, not keep these same lines that they had. And then when bleep goes south, they wouldn't be able to, mesh the lines as well. Right now, these guys that might actually end up in these roles as depth options are getting opportunities on lines that they might actually end up on, whether you like to hear it or not.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Lazar was kind of the obvious, and that was kind of the first guy that we saw really get jumped up, and it was kind of like, hey, that's a name that we didn't expect to see in the top 9 when they're actually icing what looks like mostly an NHL lineup. So to see Lazar in that spot was kind of a no-brainer to me. This one's a little bit more surprising to see Joshua get that chance. He's obviously a big body, skates well. I just think that handling the puck might be something that may not fit as well when he's playing with that other duo of Horvat and Huglander, because both players handle the puck well, move at a high speed. And like I said, Joshua moves at a high speed, but I don't know if he handles the puck at that same level that you want to see from these guys. So it will be a different look. Putting a big body out there with Huglander might open up a little bit of space for him as well. But to me, like we talked about it, the Podkolzin and Pettersson Kuzmenko line, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch tonight. And a big spot for a guy you're ripping on all week, Connor Garland, who I think's been good. I think he's been fine throughout the preseason. I wouldn't say great, but I think he's been fine to good. And he's going to play in the kind of the Besser spot that we think that Besser's going to go back to, and he's here. But he's playing with Tanner Pearson, JT Miller, Connor Garland there together. Should be a night for them to kind of match up against NHL competition, with the Oilers sending a pretty strong lineup. We'll get to that in bet with Bagged Milk in just a minute here, who's going to join us in 45 seconds, I'm thinking here. So we'll chat a little bit more Oilers when he gets on here. But I think this is an opportunity for Garland, Miller, and Pearson, who I don't think we've seen. Have we seen anything from Pearson this preseason that's been positive? Not really. JT Miller, I don't think has been up to the NHL speed that he was at last year, putting up 99 points. So this is a night where I think that line should be challenged a little bit by Bruce Boudreau to say, hey, like, this is the time we can turn it on here. Like, we don't just want to flip the switch when the regular season begins. So tonight's a night to really start to test things out at full speed.
And I used Bruce Boudreau's quote to a fan in a cameo in my Scenes from Morning Skate this morning. And this is what Boudreau had to say. I don't want you, your friends, or anybody else to worry about us Canucks. No, we haven't had the greatest training camp success, but we're going to be fine. We start tomorrow. I know the game's in Abbotsford, but as far as I'm concerned, that's when the season sort of really starts and we'll be ready to go. I want you to know that. I know the boys are ready to kick some ass in 2022-23.
That's Segi out there. He's a good,
Ian Segi,
good
guy.
On, Canucks
Jumping to the chat here, the YouTube live chat. Pandas FN said, "Oh my lord, Faber has way too much power and time." Maybe, obviously talking about your photoshops, which I don't think Alex is going to be bringing
up, Alex,
at any point here. And Brian Urquhart, that's a last name, said, "Faber, go through Richmond, take the tunnel, and take 16th all the way from White Rock to Abbey." Some traffic advice for Chris Faber, and Pandas FN commenting on me looking right into the camera saying, "Quads is looking into my soul right now." Folks, jump in the YouTube live chat. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, because we're also live on Twitter right now.
Live on Twitter,
Brian,
too.
I used to live down in White Rock, so I would go 16th all the way down to like 256 or something, and then you go down to 8th. Boom, and you ride 8th all the way down. You get to, good views. You see the airport, see the border down the road, see the jail.
Okay.
It's good stuff down there out in Abbotsford. Lots of farmland. Good people out in Abbotsford too. They got Lully's hot dogs. Hoping they're opening tonight. I've already given it to the Abbotsford Canucks PR guy. Said they better be giving us those media $25 gift certificates.
25?
Yeah, I need the.
It was 15 when I went.
No, I know they. Well, I got, because I said you got to, if you're going to give us the media, you're going to cover the whole meal. It's got to cover a Lully's hot dog. So I want the full Lully's. I want cheese on there. All that stuff. If I'm driving out to Abbotsford, I'm getting a Lully's dog. So,
okay. Before we get to bagged milk, this comment from James, because you brought up Pearson on the top line. James said, "I'm okay with Pearson on the top line only if it's for raising his stock in a future trade."
I like that. Yeah. I do like that as well.
Okay, let's get to bagged milk. Let's bring him in. Are we ready for bagged milk, Alex?
Bagged milk is in here. Yeah.
Bagged milk has not shown up on a live show. This is unbelievable. I'm going to have to text bagged milk.
Okay, well, we're gonna lock out of the YouTube chat here, which is tough look for bagged milk not joining. Hopefully he's got the right the links to pop in here, but we didn't even really get a chance yet to touch on the defense pairings, because tonight we're going back to Quinn Hughes playing with Luke Schenn, which is honestly I think this is what we're gonna end up seeing. And we'll transition now to sort of battles for opening night. Anyways, it's just, to me, like that you could call it a battle to a certain degree of watching Quinn Hughes play with a guy like OEL, or is he going to go back to playing with Luke Schenn? And I think that the idea behind having Quinn Hughes play the right side, there's a lot of positives that you could take away from that. But to me, also, it's just, do you want to limit Quinn Hughes in that spot? Because I feel like, though there could be some potential to be unlocked on the right side, it's not going to be something that we see day one immediately from this group. Like, putting out that pairing together, I don't think that's a day one thing. I think it's playing OEL with Quinn Hughes at times is going to be something that you use throughout a game, whether it be and a lot of people have mentioned use it when they're trailing, get all that offense going. Maybe you just want to spark, right? Like, maybe you're already up by one and you want to actually push, because that's what I think this Canucks team hasn't been able to do over the past few years here, is even when they get a lead, it's not all about protecting it. I think we saw a lot of that when Travis Green was the coach. But to me, you also want to just be able to see this team expand on a lead. And maybe that's a time when you just give 2 shifts in the second period to the OEL Hughes pairing. I don't see it being opening night. And I think we've already seen this point, seeing a line that looks like what we're going to see on opening night, or at least the closest lineup that we've seen throughout the preseason. And Quinn Hughes isn't with OEL. He's back with Luke Schenn. The most interesting thing about the pairings to me, though, is I was expecting, okay, when the OEL Hughes experiment gets kind of sees the end of its runway, which it did. It saw training camp. It saw some preseason games. When it gets to the end of the runway, well, let's get right back to OEL and Tyler Myers. That's not happening, apparently, from what we've seen from the lines tweeted out today. Shout out Brendan Batchelor as well. We've seen the lines up here that Alex has been pulling up, but they're not playing together. Instead, we see OEL with Tucker Poolman, who is trying to get up to speed, spoke to media after practice today, and then Kyle Burrows sliding over to the left side to play with Tyler Myers. Interesting about that bottom four there, because I'm surprised that you are going to break up the OEL Myers pairing.
The way I read into this is, one, you want a guy like Poolman to get confidence, and we wrote about this, and I talked about this on Twitter with a few people this morning, is you want a guy like Poolman to get confidence, preseason time to do it. I have spoken about it before the injuries, post-injuries, whatever. I've never been a fan of Tucker Poolman's game. I've said that countless times, but you want to give a guy an opportunity. You want to give him an opportunity to succeed. That's what you should be doing as a coach, and I think that's what Bruce Boudreau is doing right now. It's the preseason. I had some people on Twitter today telling me that Poolman might need 2 months to get up to speed, and I think that's unacceptable. You can't have him in an NHL lineup just coddling him with better defensemen behind him. That's not acceptable. But right now, what we're seeing with OEL Pullman, I think that's fine. The way I read into these lines, Chris, is Kyle Burroughs has shown well, and I think he's pushed himself into that conversation of being a main lineup guy, like being a roster mainstay in the lineup, that is. And like you look at these 8 defensemen, Hughes, Shen, OEL Pullman, Burroughs, Myers, Wolanin, and Rathbone skating as the extras. That's your 8 defensemen, right? Like, we don't have any update on Travis Dermott. It looks like right now this is going to be the 8 defensemen that the Canucks are running with. If it was a regular season game, right, you have to assume that Jack Rathbone is one in that lineup, probably playing with Tyler Myers, and OEL is playing alongside Tucker Pullman or Myers, and Pullman would just slide down to play with Rathbone. So again, it might be Kyle Burroughs that gets that spot as well. Like it might be, OEL Burroughs or Rathbone Burroughs, whatever it is. The combinations are endless, but I think this is an opportunity to let Kyle Burroughs, one, show some versatility that he can play the left side, and two, just be able to prove that he belongs in this lineup regularly. I just want to quickly jump back to the chat. Sam Wilson asked, what about your Arby's? And we'll chat about that with Bag Milk. Also, it's my fault Bag Milk's not here. I forgot to send him the link.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah,
that was my fault. But Liam Horribin jumped in, said, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Liam. And Na P said, throw Pearson on the 4th line where he belongs. Give the hog.
Here we go.
Top 6 time.
Bag Milk on now. You guys figured out your link?
It's not Alex's fault.
No, it's not. I mean, Alex is probably, because that's the thing. I give Alex a lot of crap for the stuff that is his fault. You're over here telling them the stuff that is not even his fault.
Well, I apologize. And it's not Alex's fault. It's all my fault. Okay, Pandas jumped back in and said, I wonder if Pullman has another game like he did in Seattle. If giving him a few games in the A is something management considers, may also help maximizing the Ferland LTIR contract. This is interesting because if the Canucks bury Pullman, what are you looking at?
The screen.
I thought you were looking outside the window.
No.
If they bury Pullman's contract in the AHL, they have to bring someone up, obviously, right? So the cap savings they're really getting is just about, I think $350K, might be a little bit less than that, but it's really not much if they bury Pullman. So I don't know if it's going to be for cap reasons, but again, maximizing the Ferland LTIR contract, I understand what you're saying, but I'm curious if they consider putting him in Abbotsford for the purpose of, like people on Twitter were telling me today, letting him get up to speed, right? Like playing big minutes, first pairing on Abbotsford, and seeing what he can do, right? In that first pairing role, see if he can really get up to NHL speed by, I don't know, it sounds crazy, by playing in the AHL, just show that he can exceed expectations at the AHL level and really, knock down the door to get in the NHL. And it's crazy we're saying this into the second year of a 4-year contract, but look, we knew this contract wasn't going to be good from the start. And look, like there was people today even just saying, like, if Pullman's making $750,000 or league minimum, there's no discussion. He's going down ahead of Kyle Burroughs when Travis Dermott returns, right? But now we're not so sure exactly who it's going to be, and yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
That's the only part of the lineup that I look at, and I think this isn't the NHL starting, like opening night lineup for the Canucks. Is what you just kind of mentioned there of, hey, is this still an opportunity where Pullman is kind of receiving a chance to look like this, or try and get Pullman up to speed, because he even talked about it. Like, it is going to take a little bit of us being. I think he even mentioned today in his postgame that there's still work to go, right? Like there still is a ways to go for Pullman to get to that point. It's something that he mentioned. It's something that he wants to at least kind of like trend towards. And I think this might be a situation where, we look at this and it's a very NHL lineup, but to me, I don't think you want to go in opening night with Tucker Pullman and OEL playing together on a pairing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're having some technical difficulties with Bagged Milk. I'm texting with them. I still think it's Bagged Milk's fault rather than Alex or I's fault, but we have a little time to fill here. So what do you want to talk about, Chris? Because I want to talk about the Oilers lineup tonight, because Dylan Holloway is lighting the world on fire. And I know we're going to talk about this with Bagged Milk if he joins, but I do want to talk about Dylan Holloway because he's getting a shot with Connor McDavid. And if there's one thing this Oilers team has lacked, it's obviously goaltending. But another thing that the Oilers don't really have, as Alex pulls up the line, look at how quick he is. Another thing the Oilers haven't really had is great players on ELCs. Like, if he's able to play on the Oilers' first line, right? And again, I know it's preseason, but this guy has lit the world on fire through these preseason games so far. If the Oilers are able to get a guy who has 2 years left on his ELC playing with Connor McDavid, like, talk about depth. Like, that's a deadly forward group if they're able to hit with Dylan Holloway here.
well, I mean, giving him every shot in the world. He played with Leon Draisaitl the other night, and obviously scores the hat trick, all at 5-on-5 too. Let's not forget that. Like that's important for me for a prospect to really make an impact. If he does it at 5-on-5, it's huge. I thought he was fine at Young Stars. I don't think he really stuck out to me watching him in Penticton. So then he comes right here into the NHL, starts playing with these good players. He's big body, he's fast. He went to the net hard, playing with the right guys. And then it's just a situation where it's like, well, now you get to play with McDavid, right? Like do everything you just did, but do it to the next level. So it's going to be a good little game out there in Abbotsford. I'm excited to watch it, man. I think the Canucks are going to have a strong lineup. It is, for people that are wondering, it's not on Sportsnet tonight. It's going to be streamed.
Yeah, live streamed on Canucks.com.
Right. So live stream tonight. They put on a good product. They put on like a solid product. I did the AHL broadcast last year, a little color out there, and like it's tough. I was doing the call one time, and they got the play-by-play broadcast. You're in the corner, and D. Giuseppe does that through the legs goal, and the play-by-play. I'm with Jason Balsey. Seaball didn't even see it. He's just like, oh, what? He's like, and look at that, a break. And I was like, he's going nuts about this this incredible play by him. So, all right, let's bring in Bag Milk now. We got the Oilers up here. The Oilers line up here as well. We can get to that in a little bit. There he is.
There he is.
Smiling.
Yeah. I did it. I made it.
Yeah, you finally did. We just started talking about Dylan Holloway. What have you we're not even gonna ask you how you're doing because you're late. But how impressed have you been with Dylan Holloway in this preseason, Bagged?
Dylan Holloway is probably the greatest hockey player that has ever laced up his skates, and I don't think that's hyperbolic at any stretch. But like for real, he's been really good, man. But it's hard to understand or kind of put into context what he's doing because it's the preseason. Let me tell you a quick story. Once upon a time, there was a thing called HOPE here in Edmonton, where it was an acronym for Hall, Omark, Magnus Pajärvi, and Jordan Eberle. Once upon a time, that was a thing. I went to a preseason game against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and my sweet Magnus Pajärvi scored a hat trick. We all thought he was going to be the best of the lot. I said, Magnus Pajärvi, that's the guy. In fact, a lot of Oilers fans went and bought his jersey after that night. So my point with this story, boys, is that I've been hurt before. So I'm excited about Holloway. I think he's going to be a contributor in a real way, but I also don't know that he's going to be in the top 6 when we actually get going here. Like Faber said, he's tonight in Abbotsford. He's playing next to Connor McDavid. What a spot to be in. He was with Leon on Wednesday. What a spot to be in. Is he going to be there when the regular season starts? I don't know, but man, he's forcing his way into that spot and making an interesting decision for Jay Woodcroft.
Interesting decision, even like looking at this lineup for the Oilers tonight. And I think Holloway's the one making this happen. There's obviously been a lot of rumors about Jesse Pujärvi, but what does Holloway's preseason mean to that for Pujärvi and potentially even like being a guy that they explore trading? It feels like they've been doing it all off season, but like I'm sure the ask has had to like evolve from what they were probably looking at the draft, what they are now, to getting to a spot where if Holloway makes his team is playing in the top 9, like where does Pujärvi even go at that point, really?
Well, here's the thing is that I don't know that Holloway and Pujärvi are in direct competition because they're on both sides of the depth chart. However, there's only so many spots in the top 9. And for either of those guys, you don't want to be the guy who's the odd man out. You can't have Holloway on the 4th line. That doesn't do anything. You can't have Pujärvi on the 4th line. That doesn't do anything. So I see it more as whose job are they going to steal or who's going to lose one. As an example, a guy like Warren Foegele would probably be penciled in pencil, not ink, in the top 9 on this team. Can Dylan Holloway steal that spot? Can he bump himself up to the top 6? Does he move Ryan Nugent-Hopkins back to center at the 3rd line, or does he stay up as the 2nd line winger? There's a lot of options with the Oilers in their top 9 because of how it's put together. But when it comes to a decision on a Pujärvi, I think the team's better with him in the lineup, and I think they're better with him in the lineup where he's on a scoring line. I don't know that that's how it's going to play out. Obviously, like you said, Chris, there's been conversations about potentially moving him. We've written about it countless times over the last 2 or 3 years. So even the fact that he's still here right now on October 5th is almost surprising to an extent. But I believe in the player. I believe that there's something there. And I hope the Oilers actually give him a chance to succeed this year. Or we're going to see them sell low on another guy that has a chance to go and do it elsewhere.
You mentioned Warren Foegele. All right. He buried an absolute wrist shot of a pass from Jake Virtanen in that game. Jake Virtanen's preseason, we've been hearing from Edmonton that it hasn't been good. What's your take on Jake Virtanen's preseason so far with the Oilers? Is he going to earn a contract?
No. I mean, no. Like, here's the thing. Like, obviously, I'm not involved in the decisions, but I look at Jake Virtanen as a player whose career is hanging on by a thread. He's got an opportunity with a lineup where, on the right side of the Oilers depth chart, it's not the deepest spot on their depth chart. If he came into Edmonton and legitimately played well, I could have said, you know what, he probably earned it. But I think he's played 4 preseason games now. And sure, he gets the assist on the Warren Fogle goal. Warren Fogle knocks that puck out of the air, like 12 inches off the ice. So, okay, how nice was the pass, really? He's not hitting. He's not shooting. He's mostly been invisible. And on Wednesday night, he played the fewest minutes of any Edmonton Oiler. So I'm a little bit surprised that he's still here. But then again, I was stunned that they brought him in the first place. I didn't see where he fit then, and I don't see where he fits now.
Beg, we'll wrap up with this because I'm heading out to Abbotsford. It's like one of the 2 Arby's in the Vancouver area. Hey, Alex, pull me up here. Big full screen. I got to pull me up full screen up. There it is. Boom. Have you had this yet? The spicy chicken sandwich.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Which, by the way, I will bring this up. I think one of the most underrated Arby's sandwiches was the spicy fish, which you can see here. I'll even zoom you in a little bit, Alex. I don't know if you can do this. We'll zoom it in a little bit.
For those that can't see on the podcast, because this is the Canucks Conversation podcast, Stephen has brought up the Arby's menu online, and it's just a zoomed in photo of a spicy chicken sandwich.
But what I want to mention
you're not missing much.
No,
folks.
but this is for the audio people. They got this dusting of hot kind of seasoning on top of there, and they put that on the spicy fish, and it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. Have you tried this one yet? And what do you think of these crusted up jalapenos they're putting on this sandwich? It doesn't even look good in the photo.
I have not. I haven't tried this, but now I'm curious. There's an Arby's not far down the road from me here in Edmonton, and the little dusting of the seasoning, I see the little accoutrement of the jalapenos on top. I think the presentation here, I like what they're going for. I don't know that this is necessarily in my wheelhouse. I'm generally an Arby's purist, and I'm a beef and ched guy. However, I do appreciate your love of Arby's, Faber, and I need you to try this for me and report back first thing. This is probably the most important thing that we're working on at the Nation Network, and I can't think of anything that we should prioritize more than this.
I'm coming out to Edmonton next week. We're going on an Arby's date, are we not? So I'll try it. I'll report live when I'm in Edmonton next.
Can I say this on Canucks Conversation right now? That Quads texted me the other day, and he legitimately asked me to take him on an Arby's date when he's in Edmonton next week. So we are going to set that on the calendar, and we are going to have a really special evening for 2 at the Arby's.
Yeah, we got it there, but we DoorDashed it. It wasn't the same because he didn't get the fresh fries.
Well, I've had Arby's since. I went to the Twas one. Okay, we got to wrap up here. We got a lot to get to. Bag Milk. Thanks for joining us, my friend. Take care.
Anytime, boys.
There he is, Bag of Milk.
Bag Milk of OilersNation.com. A lot of fun stuff going on throughout the whole Nation Network. A couple people jumped into the YouTube live chat that I want to touch on here. This is regarding Jake Virtanen. Mitchell Luke said, typical example of a big player who has to prove he can't play instead of proving he can. Bang on. I think that's a bang on assessment of Jake Virtanen's game. James Kootenay jumped in and said, if you've ever hung out with Jake, you'd know he doesn't have the drive or passion, just an uninspired individual. Don't know if they're speaking from experience there, but they said it.
Yeah. I mean, that's what, and you know what, like, even just putting aside all the other crap in Jake Virtanen's life that has led up to this point, like Bag just mentioned it, like, he's been given us a role. This right side of the Oilers lineup is not strong. There's a spot for him to make it if he played okay, and he hasn't done it. I don't think it's surprised any of us who have seen him play in Vancouver, but yeah, there was a spot for him to win. It just has not happened. So yeah, I think this might be his last game here, and he gets to do it in his hometown, Abbotsford.
My ring light keeps shutting off. The people on the YouTube live chat are going to notice it, but my ring light keeps turning on and off.
Natural light that I got here from this.
Yeah, you got the great lighting. I'm looking out; it's beautiful here. Okay, let's get to the prospects report. Do you have a bunch of videos of one Jonathan Lekaramaki shot?
I don't know if Alex got
over?
Me and Alex talking behind your back again. We got a new thing set up here as well. But all right, let's check it out. Philip Johansson. He scored today in Champions League play. This is what it looked like. Philip Johansson's like, he's 22 years old. Okay. Like the Canucks signed him. He's 22. They got him on a 2-year. Here's Quad zoning out here on TikTok.
Give me while I'm looking out the window too. Not even watching this.
It is beanbag. Philip Johansson.
This is so stupid.
I like the video part. He's a right shot defenseman, 22 years old. He's playing a ton in the SHL, like 20 plus minutes a night. Really like what we're seeing. Obviously, the slap shot is the thing that's kind of sticking out for him. Offensively, like you have to like what you see from Philip Johansson at this point. I do have another one that I want to bring up as well. He's got one from last week where this was just an absolute howitzer. This shot right here is this is the Philip Johansson shots here.
The clip and the podcast listeners again. We got to tell them exactly what's going on.
Boom! Look at that shot.
You pulled up the thing of me sitting in a beanbag chair with the thought bubble as I'm zoning out and looking out the window.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. As a prospects report, we got a few.
Chat is loving that.
I'm glad that Alex. I didn't think Alex had it in time.
Alex nailed that.
This guy can shoot the puck, though. Okay, Philip Johansson, he can shoot the puck. We got SHL goals blowing up here. I think he had some. I think it was. I got to double check this, but either 4 or 5 goals in 9 SHL playoff games last year. Like, the dude can shoot the puck. I know he's 22 years old. Little surprised that he didn't get re-upped. I forget which team drafted him, but that's how the Canucks picked him up, right? Like, it was a prospect that didn't end up getting a re-signed contract. The Canucks end up picking him up as free agent. He's got a 2-year ELC, doesn't slide, so the Canucks only have him for 1 more year after this year. He's off in the SHL playing right now, but we are going to see, I expect to see, and this is something I'm going to talk to Ryan Johnson about on Saturday, are we going to see him get an opportunity to be with the Abbotsford Canucks next season? It's something that I could very likely see happening. So keeping an eye on Philip Johansson a little bit. So good little spot for him. What, right shot defenseman?
Chat
what are you laughing about? Right shot defenseman.
Well, sorry. Chat is giving Alex some love for that. First of all, Sterling Wilson said Quad's wearing a baseball hat, not caring about prospect highlights. Damn straight. And Belcara jumped in and said incredible work on the thought bubble, Alex. That was really good. Yes. We're going to have to clip that and post that on Twitter.
Well,
are you done the prospect sport? Because someone had a goalie question.
No, but this is the one I really want to show. This is the Philip Johansson goal from last week. Blow me up here, Alex. There we go. Look at the shot on this guy. He is absolutely ripping this as a right shot defenseman. He's got a quality shot, like good release on this. Boom. Look at that thing. People, I see all the replies on this tweet. Is that Sammy Salo? No, Sammy Salo's coaching in Liga, but this is a good little, I tell you, right shot defenseman. I'm not saying he's the savior of this team, but he might be something, and I want to see what he looks like in the AHL next season. So that's my chat about him. A couple other prospects just want to quickly update. Elias Pettersson, he's back in J20, had a goal and an assist today, so he just continues to rip up that J20 league when he's playing there. Not really getting those minutes at the SHL level yet, but it's good to see Pettersson at least having a lot of success when he's playing against these junior 20 players, which is like he's trending towards being a guy who's not only going to be on the World Junior team for Sweden in 2 years, but like potentially even this fall, like as an 18-year-old, he might end up being on that World Junior team, which would be great for him. So he is looking excellent when he's playing in J20 leagues in the situation he's put in. And quickly, Jonathan Meyerberg, he gets his first point with his lone team, which I got some slack about this on Twitter. I have to say the letters after these teams. I got to do some more research figure. So maybe someone in the chat can help me with this. But he plays for Mora IK. And apparently these letters after, because normally I just say he plays for Mora, and they're like, no, you got to say the other letters. People are giving me crap. They had very Swedish names, so I was like, I'm gonna listen to these people. They know what they're talking about. So yeah, he got his first assist in Allsvenskan, the right shot defenseman as well. So 6'2", big body, looked really good at development camp. And finally, Abbotsford training camp kicks off this morning as well. So we saw some video coming out from training camp in Abbotsford, which I will be out at Saturday. We just, because of the show here, I can't make it out. You know, I'd love to be out there at the Abbotsford camp.
We got an Oilers fan in the chat that misspelled Oilers when saying "Let's go Oilers." They said "Let's go Oilers." They misspelled it, but then they got it right twice. So good for them. Yash Arya dropping in the chat. Got a lot of viewers in the chat.
Oh, you know what I tell you, I want to get the thought bubble back up. Maybe let's try. I just want to, for people that might have missed it there.
Also, I think Yash Arya thinks they're trolling. They haven't been listening to the show because they said Dylan Holloway about to light the lamp, which is basically what we spent 10 minutes talking about on this show.
Blow it up here.
We like Dylan Holloway. Ask us about Philip Broberg.
I want to see this prospects snoozing thing again one more time on the YouTube.
Oh my gosh,
this is the good stuff right here. Where's Quads? He's off in his chair, looking at TikTok. Addison Ray liking videos. There we go. It's the sleep cam, the Quadrelli sleep cam over there. We'll TM that or something.
Okay,
Philip Johansson, though, keep an eye on him. I'd say 22-year-old, still a prospect. Come over here to the AHL next year. Excited to see what happens there.
Okay, let's get to the Betway wrap up. We've got a baseball bet, folks. You can see that Mr. Chris Faber is wearing an Alek Manoah Blue Jays jersey. I'm wearing my Mariners hat. And for those that are wondering, because I've spoken about this before, my baseball fandom in order. San Diego Padres are number 1 for me, and that comes from a love of Houston Street, who's the most random closer to have a love for a team come from. But Houston Street
Is it
was
Hudson
my favorite.
Street?
No.
Oh, okay.
Houston Street. You're thinking of Daniel Hudson, Angels closer. So Houston Street, that's where my Padres fandom comes from. Then it's the Toronto Blue Jays, okay, because they're from Canada. I've watched that 2015, 2016 run, and I was a big fan. Even the Vernon Wells days, I'd been watching since then because they were on TV. And then it's the Seattle Mariners for regional purposes. And right now, as I've said, as why I'm wearing the hat, right now in Mariners Blue Jays, I am going for the Mariners because they are the underdog team. They haven't made the playoffs since I was like a year old. They've got Julio Rodriguez. It's a fun team. Not saying the Jays aren't. Again, if the Mariners are eliminated, I'll be rooting for the Jays and the Padres. And obviously they're in different divisions. Won't even have to face each other unless they both reach the World Series, which is a win-win for me. So I just wanted to just get that out there right now that I am going for the Mariners in this series. But our question today
we know
from our friends at Betway.
Yeah, Betway.com. Check them out.
Is who's going to come out of the AL?
I used to say it back. I like the Mariners as well, but I think the Blue Jays have been so much more fun watching for the past, 10 years that I did when I was younger. I remember watching, John Olerud, Edgar Martinez. When I found out what a designated hitter was from Edgar Martinez, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a designated hitter for my whole life. Never played defense. It's amazing. Yeah. But bet. What we got the bet here? But
Betway. Who's coming out of the AL?
If the Mariners start winning, maybe they'll get more Vancouver fans. So now you get this.
So they're on their way. They've got a good rotation. They got a better rotation than the Jays. They got a better bullpen than the Jays. You and I have had this discussion. I think they're going to come out of this series, especially if it goes to 3 games.
I don't think they're coming
because Luis Castillo is going to start game 1 against Manoah. I probably give the edge to the Jays in that game. And then it's either going to be Logan Gilbert or Robbie Ray, but whoever you don't face, you got to face that guy on the third day. Who do the Jays have? Ross Stripling, Jose Barrios. Which form of Jose Barrios are you going to get?
Well, I don't want Barrios is good at home.
I don't want to knock on the Jays too much, but our Betway question
who's coming
today,
out of the AL? We just talked about him for.
Well, hang on. Let's give the odds here. The Houston Astros at 2.5, the New York Yankees at 3, the Toronto Blue Jays at 6, the Cleveland Guardians at 11, the Seattle Mariners at 12, and the Tampa Bay Rays at 13. I think you and I are both in agreement here. It's the New York Yankees.
Yeah, you put $50 down, you're coming out 100.
Don't tell people what to put on it. We're reading the odds out and we're telling them what we like as a bet. And I like the New York Yankees.
150 plus you get your $200. You put 50 down, you get 200 back. I think that's how it works.
I think what I was telling you is in all honesty, like if the Blue Jays beat the Mariners, and obviously that's a possibility, I think the Blue Jays could reach the ALCS, but I don't think they're a team that can win a 7-game series, especially if they're up against the New York Yankees, right? And I would even say the Houston Astros are better for a 7-game series than the Jays. And again, I just look at that rotation, right? Like not having Hyun-Jin Ryu hurts.
Okay, listen, talk about the bets. We don't need rotations here. Canucks Conversation. We're having a big game tonight out in Abbotsford. Going to make the drive here pretty quick, so I'm excited for that. Get out to Abbotsford. That's my old stomping grounds out there. I know. I tell you, I know the every hallway, every staircase. Abbotsford Center, that's my spot. Anybody in the chat going to be at the game tonight?
Well, we got a lot of people in the chat that I want to get to here. Sterling Wilson said, Quad Sleep Cam brought to you by Sleep Number. Man, that's a good sponsor deal. Nice work, Faber. That was Alex and Faber, so shout out to them both. And then, again, Yash Arya, who's an Oilers fan, welcome in the chat, by the way, said, Canucks to miss, LMAO. Demko's the only reason the Canucks aren't below Seattle. Yeah, we know. Like, that's what we talk about probably every episode, but it's your first time, so welcome to the chat. Michael Choose Food says, holy moly, I done made it over to the live stream. Mitchell Locke said, how can people in Vancouver cheer for the Mariners while also cheer for the Canucks? One can only survive so much disappointment. That is very fair. And then...
That's a great
Mitchell Luke's again jumping in and saying Astros are going to be tough. And Yashari with one final comment saying Bagged Milk, the legend, by the way. We know. We like Bagged Milk. Yeah, although now I'm thinking this is Bagged Milk's burner account.
Yeah, but he's got a 2-week ban, comes in here late. Whatever. What is he, 15 minutes late?
That was my fault.
Yeah, well, that's surprised. You got no prep done today.
All right.
Otherwise, you would have seen the sleep cam again. Pull that up again.
That was great.
Quadrelli sleep cam.
No sleep cam when I'm closing out the show, and that's what I'm about to do. So for my co-host, Chris Faber, and our technical producer, Alex Allard, my name is David Quadrelli. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Canucks Conversation.
Alec Manoah, baby. Alec Manoah. How long am I doing?
Thanks for listening to Canucks Conversation, delivered by DoorDash. Hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode.
How about keep it to a thank you, Jim?